again, everyone, today. Thank you for joining us again for another edition of SPINcast. Today, we have Josh Richardson, one of the owners of Charlotte Esports, as well as the Charlotte Phoenix here locally. Before I get into it, I've spoken with Josh before in the past. I've gotten to know him a little bit more as a person as well. Really good guy, really passionate about the scene of esports and the development of esports here throughout the Charlotte community, both as a professional side of things, but as well as through a community side of things, which I think is incredibly important as well. So without further ado, Josh, thank you for joining us today. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited. To do this.
Cool deal. Cool deal. Well, again, we appreciate you taking the time. And obviously, we definitely want to learn a lot more about you and what you are doing in this space. So why don't you start off telling us a little bit about you, your background, how you got started with esports, where you are today with it, and kind of what we're moving forward towards.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess we'll start at the beginning where it all started. So about 2 years ago, late fall, I was working, I was doing a little bit of everything. I was actually in the Army Reserves, and I was kind of hanging out, working in construction, just, trying to live life, make it through, and was not happy with just pretty much the way my life was going as far as like my business side of life. Was sitting there thinking one day and said, I've been playing video games for a long time. I really enjoy the competitive side of it, like the esports side. I'm going to take a stab at it. So I contacted a local LAN center here in Charlotte. We started doing small tournaments and stuff like that. I went with the name Charlotte Esports then. And then from there, I gradually, had more help, more people jumping on. And we started doing stuff with conventions, which was really awesome because that led me to meet CJ Collins, who's one of my business partners. And from there, we really started growing how big the events were. They're going from, 5 people events to, 7,000-8,000 people conventions that we were hosting these big Call of Duty tournaments. And eventually we even broke away from that and started doing our own tournaments. We were bringing, $5,000 prize pools. We have, 30 different stations set up for Call of Duty, casters, the whole production, the whole thing. We really, really went as far as we could go and really push the envelope of what was being done in Charlotte. Right around that time, we started saying, what would it look like if we had like teams under our banner? So we kind of were scouting, and with us already being more involved in Call of Duty, we picked up just some, before the Call of Duty franchise, there was like the Challengers Leagues and stuff like that. So we picked up a team and here and there and really liked it. We got a really good feel for that. So we had already mastered the event side, which was great. And then we wanted to kind of see the team side, which we did that and thought it was great. So during this whole process, I also brought on my other business partner, who is the current chief business officer, and that is Jeff Brokaw. We put our heads together and said, what would be a great way to brand for the city of Charlotte to bring esports to Charlotte? Because the goal has always been major esports in Charlotte. We want to be like the place to go. So we came up with Charlotte Phoenix, which is what I'm wearing on my head. And we said, let's find some teams. And we found what game would work the best. We had to look at a few different factors, what would translate well for people who don't watch esports a lot. Rocket League was an easy one. It was a popular game. It was up and coming. You could walk, if you've never seen esports or even heard about it, you could walk in, see it on TV and understand. It's soccer with cars that have rocket packs on them. That's all it is. It's pretty simple. So we got a Rocket League team. We signed them. They're a very, very well-known professional team, one of the best in North America. We still have some of that same roster with us today, but we started growing. CJ started handling the Charlotte Esports side, which is just basically at this point events, consulting, anything that doesn't fall under what a team would compete in or do. CJ handles that, and that falls under Charlotte Esports. So the Charlotte Phoenix brand is just the team side, like your traditional, like the Carolina Panthers or the Charlotte Hornets. That's what the Charlotte Phoenix would be. So, it's kind of funny. We have a couple things in one, 2 separate entities, but they kind of all work together. And it's all about, and the reason why we wanted it to work together and why it's so important that we have cohesiveness throughout what we're doing is because we're also laying a foundation for esports to flourish here in Charlotte and the greater Charlotte area. We're making sure that we educate people as we go on what esports is, and we make sure that we also provide high quality events and high quality teams that will live up to the name of Charlotte. You know, you can't slap Charlotte on something and not, not give it the royal treatment. There's a little pun, but that, that's what we're trying to do here. We're really trying to grow it, and we're very, very much on the way there.
Awesome. No doubt about it. I think Charlotte, Phoenix, and Charlotte Esports are certainly doing a number of things, both at the community level and beyond, that are going to be very, very productive and explosive here in the Charlotte area, hopefully sooner than later, so more and more fans can see it. You talked in that conversation a little bit about when you started, you liked the gaming side of things and you were competitive and everything, but there's a significant difference between playing video games and esports, because I think a lot of parents kind of see it as the same, when the reality is, for example, I play video games. I'll play Call of Duty. It's a great stress reliever for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, I'm nowhere near close to being an esports competitor or esports athlete, if you will. Tell me, what are the differences?
So it's pretty simple. When it comes to video games versus esports, video games would be you just playing usually by yourself, no stress. It's just you doing one play. Let's just think one player mode. That's the easiest way to say it. Esports would be multiple people competing against each other, whether that be for a prize, at the end of the tournament, whether that be for a certain rank. There's the competitive side to it. So it's not just you running, playing a game solo. Like Super Mario is the easiest one. Super Mario is not an esport. An esport would be like Call of Duty, because you're playing other people. So there has to be the competitive side of you versus someone else that's not a computer. First of all, that's a really good one to start with, and then also a reward system for playing against those people. I think that all that kind of and obviously there's a lot more, but just kind of the quick answer is it's got to be you versus someone else, and it has to be incentivized in some way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then from there, esports has kind of trickled down, if I'm saying this correctly, meaning you saw it a lot at the professional level, and we still see it obviously a lot at the professional level with a number of huge titles, whether it be League of Legends, Call of Duty, Dota, Fortnite, where you actually have pro teams encompassed in a specific city that are playing against other pro teams prior to this COVID-19. And obviously they would be able to get together face-to-face, and huge arenas sold out, just like a concert or any other sporting event. And that's trickled down now where there are collegiate leagues, where there are actual esport teams that play competitively, and there's scholarships available, things of that nature, and trickled down a little bit further where now we're seeing that kind of permeate within the high school level.
Yeah.
So I think esports has grown so dramatically, so quickly. It's kind of hard lots of times for parents just to keep up with what is this growing phenomena versus video games. So,
well, I think because there was professional scene, I think that's why those came after, because there was a lot of kids making money, or late teens, early 20s, they were making a lot of money, and schools said, well, hey, we want to get on this. We want to create something that will bring those people here, because most of those kids were skipping school. Like, they graduate from high school and get straight into the pros. Well, there's a few different reasons why there, I feel should be a vetting process, and there kind of is, but schools caught on to it. They started their own esports teams. High schools did the same thing, usually club or something like that at the very least. And now what we're seeing is something super interesting. Schools aren't just offering the team side of stuff. They're actually opening up the business side of esports, which is really interesting because we haven't seen that before. So we're seeing esports scholarships that are going for people. They'll be playing the game, but they also, their degree is in like esports management or something like that, which is, we're kind of seeing the first few iterations of that. And it's exciting because it opens up a pathway. If you're not the best at the game, but you want to be involved in esports, there 100% is a place for you in the esports world. There was just no way to figure out how to do that. And now colleges and high schools are catching on with the help of, organizations like ours, organizations like Plugged In. I will go even on a limb and say every professional organization wants there to be a way for everyone to be involved in esports. Collegiate, high school, you as a person, esports is a very welcoming space for most people. It's very rare that you see, an org say no to something that improves the actual overall esports scene. So, I think because there was a pro scene, colleges and high schools realized the need for a way to kind of pipeline how to get people into the business side as well as the gaming side.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think you're 100% right. As you see that area really start to grow explosively on the collegiate side of things, no doubt. And now, of course, on the high school side. So I look at it as, and you know a little bit about my backstory in terms of why I started and why now I'm very passionate about helping younger side of generation to really find a pathway into a college or into a career or even into pro. But as a parent, or what would you tell a parent that were to say, you know what? Video gaming isn't that addictive. I see my son or daughter on it nonstop, every day, late into the night. That's what they want to do. How would you combat that, or how would you answer that?
So, a lot of people like to jump in this question, and I tell people before you answer this question, don't think from your perspective. You have to think from the person you were trying to convince that this is not an addictive thing. Okay, so the way I approach it is like this. Well, if you look at traditional sports, would you be mad if your kid was out there playing basketball for, he gets done school, he gets home, as long as homework's done, because that's always a big one. As long as homework's done, he's out there practicing 6 hours or way deep into the night. You're not going to be mad because you're saying, hey, this guy's going somewhere. He wants to do basketball. It's what he wants. Well, this is the same with video games at this point. We're at a point where there is a way, sorry, mom and dad, for these kids to make more money than you do potentially if it's treated right. It's hard to understand it right now, but I think also not just shutting it out right away and realizing that you can help by maybe setting limits, obviously staring at a screen for a long time, posture, all that stuff come into play with that. So there are limits, even when you're worried about being addicted, say, hey, look, you need to step back for your own health at this point, because you don't want to be slumped over all day or you start getting migraines from, the blue light from the screens that kids don't even know is there. And also even beyond that, other health complications that may arise from that, you're sitting. So if it's monitored and there's proper breaks and stuff, you can treat it just the same way as you would a basketball, football, soccer, baseball, kid trying to play professionally. And that's the way I look at it, be open to it, watch what they're doing, be involved with it. And I think that you'll very fast realize that this isn't something that's harmful. It's actually helping them. And they are being social. My parents' biggest thing was you're not being social. Well, I was being very social. It might not be face to face, but I'm talking to people. So that's just give it a try. Obviously, there should be boundaries. I'm not saying that just let the kids play at 2 or 3 in the morning. It's not healthy, but definitely give it a try. Make a schedule that fits what your family is doing and kind of set that tone. And I think that you will 100% be won over after that.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. I think the 2 key points to that, get involved. More important than anything else, get involved, understand, get the information, do the research. I know, again, I was on that opposite side of the fence that thought exactly that. But by myself going in, doing a lot of research, talking to a lot of people, I've been able to, at least with my children, put together a schedule that they're happy with, but it also gets the results from a curriculum perspective, learning perspective, and their passion is already there. So it really helps them to grow and understanding that there's more to it than just the competitive esports side of things. There's a big tree with a lot of branches. And then secondarily, you also mentioned the fact that, get your rest, meaning don't, with your posture, move around, things of that nature. I think, again, in doing the research, you'll start to understand that you can play for a length of time, but if you're getting the proper rest, you're moving around, you're moving those blood getting blood circulation throughout the body and things of that nature, then, it's going to work itself out just like any other sport.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. I mean, and to kind of piggyback on that, think about it. Your kid, you have to realize this from a, like, look at it from a traditional sports. When you play a very physical game, you need to rest, let your body recuperate. Same with playing video games. You're sitting down for a long time. You want to get up and you want to get out and move and get the blood flowing and stay, and it keeps you sharp. And not only that, increases longevity, because in esports, it's not like regular sports. Right now, what we've seen, and I actually had a very interesting point to this, what we're seeing is the burnout is rather quick. Mid-20s usually is where you see people starting to retire and starting to figure out what they're going to do from there. I made actually a really funny discovery just thinking. I was talking with someone. There also is outside factors to why there's the longevity isn't there. You get older, you have responsibilities, kids, family. You can't devote the time you need, but that's a rabbit trail. We'll talk more about that offline, but it's something really cool I was thinking about, and which is a great way to kind of also show people the business side, because when you're done, you're done your career, you don't want to just kind of be sitting there saying, well, what do I do now? So
right. And to your point, a number of professional gamers have gone on to do and be very successful in the business side of esports, whether it's streaming or other things.
Exactly.
That they've been
it's
able
funny
to
you say that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say the name because of I can't say the name of the org or the person, but I was talking to another tier 1 professional org recently.
Yes.
And one of the people on there is player development for that organization, and was a former League of Legends pro. People are like, well, where'd he go? Well, I can tell you he's doing just fine working for his organization, but he made the transition, and we're seeing more of that, which is great. So
yeah, no doubt about it. We actually had a podcast earlier this week with the Hornets Venom GT, and now their manager he used to be an NBA 2K player professionally. He actually won a ring last year.
Oh, wow.
Nacho's his name. So anyway, but now he's transitioned from playing to managing. So again, there's certainly a number of opportunities. Again, just like any traditional sport, right? If you play baseball long enough, eventually you might end up on the broadcast booth, or might end up as a manager of the team, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
The similarities are certainly there between conventional and esports. Another thing that I get asked on occasion, and I know a number of parents have on their mind, is violence in esports, and what the correlation there is. How would you answer that?
Well, I would say that I'm a firm believer that video games don't cause the violence. A lot of parents are going to hate to hear this, but a lot of it comes, from telltale signs. If your kid is having issues, it's very easy to tell what they're doing. A lot of people say, oh, well, they're playing a violent video game. It's like, no, I played, Call of Duty my whole life, and it's like I'm going out and shooting people on the street. We even saw a non-violent game, Madden, for instance, a few years ago in Fort Lauderdale, I want to say. There was a Madden tournament. The kid got mad, was obviously something going on with them, shot some people at that tournament. And it sent shockwaves through because, hey, this isn't a violent game. What's going on here? So mental health is actually the bigger issue. It's not the violent game. If you're a parent and you're worried about violence, obviously, don't let a 10-year-old play a game where people's heads are being cut off. But at the same time, realize that there's factors and telltale signs of mental health that actually are causing violent outbursts. Video games aren't supplementing that. And if anything, it's a way out. You see a lot of people talk about playing games is because they don't want to deal with everything around them. They're playing video games and they're talking to their friends online who they actually interact with better than people that they may know in real life, just face to face. And that's a very telling thing. If anything, I say playing video games, especially esports, and being competitive and getting that side out is actually more of a help than a hurt. It's when parents start blaming the video games and taking them away that you see more violent outbursts. If that's the worry. But I would say, I know a lot of people play games like Mortal Kombat and Tekken, very violent games. Some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. But the violence can be said for anything. It's not just you can't blame it on video games. As a parent myself, I will tell you right now, I do not blame other things for issues that are coming from my daughter. I want to find out what's going on with her. Maybe it's she sees things a certain way, and I have to explain to her why that way of thinking may not be right and how we can correct that. And I wouldn't put that on anything else other than me making sure that my parenting skills is as top notch as it can be, so that I can help her in those times of need. So I don't believe video games does cause the violence. And like I said, given there's a lot of examples of people that have gone on to do violent things after, they may play a video game, but same can be said about music. Think back to, was it 98, 99, the high school shooting Columbine. People were blaming Marilyn Manson for that. And it's like, those kids were obviously very mentally disturbed or had an issue before, even without taking music away. Right. So that's kind of my argument to that. It's not the game.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, parents look at it as, can this be a possible trigger that sparks that on? I look at it this way. Again, do the research. Be involved. Know the games that your kid is playing. So I've got a daughter, very active, 8th grade, likes to play video games, loves Fortnite. She's a soccer player, so she loves Rocket League lately. Those are all, very, is there shooting? Is there a shooting component, for example, in Fortnite? Yeah, there is. Yeah. But I would be more concerned about the gory effect of it, as opposed to, hey, part of my strategy is I've got to eliminate the competition. And I've got to set up how I do that. So a lot of games are actually a lot more strategy based, even though there may be some, hey, I've got to eliminate the competition built into it. And then obviously there's some games that are going to have a little bit more gore and everything else. So I think as a parent, you just got to be able to draw the line as to what's appropriate for your child and what may not be appropriate for your child. But over the end of time, I think what you'll find is kids are going to find games anyway. So to your point, the more you're involved and understanding and educating, hey, what this is and how it is, the better off they're going to be in the long term.
Yeah, and it kind of go off that too is as a you being a coach, you understand there are coachable moments in esports. At the end of the day, it's a competitive game. Like I said, video games and esports are a little different. So I'm just going to go from my perspective in esports. We have a coach in place for our teams that is not only coach in the game, but coaches them outside of the game and life. If they have issues, they go to them, so not only is there the parent there to kind of catch those and help guide them, but we have a coach in place so that, we're trying to cover it from all bases, because mental health is a big issue that we're having in America in general. And we want to make sure that we have everything to, esports is no different. It does not escape the mental health issue. So what you said, it's get involved. If you're especially high schools and college, they have coaches. If you're a parent, go talk to the coach, say, hey, this is what we're doing, can you help? You can figure something out, get involved. It helps out so much.
Yeah, no doubt. And one of the reasons I like esports more so than, for example, just playing video games is because it is a lot more team oriented. So you've got other people right next to you that, hey, if for some reason you're having a bad day or this is going on, well, the person next to you can kind of pick you up a little bit. Or as you mentioned, another figure in a coach that hopefully will be invested in that player to understand, hey, this person's going through a bout of it, whether it's at school or with a friend or whatever, and can kind of pull them through it. So again, I think that involvement in esports is actually an outlet for that child potentially, in terms of rather than having that outlet be another person, right, violently or anything like that. They've got someone that can kind of help them get through those times. I know sports in general do that for a number of kids anyway. So
yeah,
kind of moving to a different direction. Obviously, there's a number of positive things that Charlotte Esports has done in our community with hosting a number of events, getting a lot of people to come out and participate, and a lot of things for the community that a number of people I'm sure haven't heard about. What are some of the events, whether it be in the past or that you have upcoming, that you can talk a little bit about Charlotte Esports and what they have done?
Yeah, so I'll use the last Call of Duty event that we did. It was a really, really great event. We did it at Tabris in Uptown. It was a great location. We actually had, we educated some people that were coming on as like vendors there. So Select Physical Therapy was out there, and they're trying to figure out how they can fit into the esports world. So they had a massage booth set up, and they were, ergonomics. They were teaching people like, hey, correct posture, stuff like that. They're trying to, educate people on carpal tunnel, which is a big issue, especially in video games, especially keyboard and mouse. I have carpal tunnel just from typing for over only the 31 years I've been on Earth, and it's not fun. It's not fun, that's for sure. So we brought them out, educate them, which is really cool because if you come to an event, you just see select physical therapy. You don't know what we're trying to do. So we had them educating the people. We had professional athletes come out and kind of get involved. They may play video games, but they've never seen esports. So we had Jonathan Stewart, Muggsy Bogues, Del Curry was there. Great time. And then we also had energy drink companies coming out and giving out not like Monster. It was Bang, because Bang out of all of them is like a workout. It's almost like some you drink when you're working out, because it's like zero sugars, all that stuff. And then we also had people casting. So you had a production booth, which if you're interested in, you could go see. You could see how it works. So we were trying to show people like, hey, this is really great. There's another side of esports. So if you're interested, like, let us know. We'll put you in the caster booth. And we did. We had people come in who we had never used before, and maybe a few matches they casted, got a feel for it, and were able to write that down on the resume. They got experience under an organization. So. And then we had local news companies come out, and we made a lot of connections through that, and kind of were able to use that outlet to let the greater Charlotte area know who we are. Obviously having one of the city councilmen there, he was amazing. The mayor was supporting it. It was one of our better events that we've put on because of the support from the city. And I see moving forward, obviously coronavirus has really kind of pushed those types of events to the wayside, but moving forward, the events are only going to get better because the public is becoming more knowledgeable about what it is, and everybody wants to like kind of get in and figure out where they belong, or even if they're just a fan. We had plenty of people come by that just heard about it on the radio and just stop by and talk to us, and we're like, oh, this is great, figuring it out. And they stayed 30 minutes and then they're gone, but they know what it is. And that's what we're doing. Charlotte Esports is really all about letting people know what esports is. We'd rather people hear through our organization, rather than from somewhere else, because we make sure we do our homework so we have the right answers for you. But yeah, it's the last event was a great success. We build off every event that we do off of what, okay, well, this could have been better, that could have been better. And, CJ does a fantastic job with orchestrating all of that, getting people don't see how stressful that can be, but, working in esports is very stressful, getting the equipment, making sure teams are there, getting the right vendors, making sure the power is the right, all these little things. There's a ton more that go into it. And CJ is just absolutely the perfect person to have there for that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, I liken it to a concert or any other type of sporting event where there are so many people and so many things in the background that have to go right and do their job correctly to ensure a good production, whether it's within the game, the concert, in this particular instance, an esports event. So, well, I love everything that I've heard in respect to what Charlotte Esports is bringing to the community. I have a great deal of respect for what you guys have done and what are doing. And as we flash forward, let's say 5 to 10 years from now, what would you like the space to look like? Not just in Charlotte necessarily, but man, if you had a wish list of, man, this is ultimately how I would like to see esports looking, what would that look like for you?
Well, I would basically take what has happened over in the Asian countries. South Korea is a great example. You go there, they have billboards of their players. They're treated like, how we treat our NFL stars here, baseball stars. I would love to see that. And I'm pretty sure we will. I mean, we're this coronavirus, people, all they have is esports now. And they're saying, whoa, hold on. This is actually really cool. And they're getting involved with it and they really like it. So I think we're, in 5 years, we will see that. I definitely, obviously, am a big fan of geolocated cities, geolocated teams, having the cities back them,
yes.
Getting those arenas built so that way we can get the same feel as if we were going, we're going up to the Redskins to watch them play or something like that. We want that same type of feel. Our team, we want to cheer on our team. And if you can give me an excuse to go out to Las Vegas to watch an esports game, I will go to cheer my team on, and other reasons, but I will go to cheer my team on. Yeah. So, 5 to 10 years from now, I would love to see esports treated the same as traditional sports. We're definitely getting there, but we definitely still have a few hurdles we have to get over.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, Josh, I think we are just about up on time. But again, as usual, sincerely enjoy the conversation. Every time I talk with anybody involved in this arena, I seem to learn a little bit more. And that's really what I'm trying to do, is soak all of this up. So hopefully this content will help some of you viewers out there understand a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes, what is esports, and really, with passionate people like Josh really standing behind it, this is why this area is growing so rapidly. We've got a lot of really good people pushing this in the right direction. So, Josh, sincerely appreciate your time. But before I go, I've got to see some pics that your daughter has drawn.
Oh man,
I got to see them.
I wish I would. They're glued.
They're what?
So if I took
Oh, they're glued.
Yeah.
I was trying to give your daughter a plug. Never mind. Don't show her this clip.
No problem. No problem.
We'll edit that piece out. All right. Well, again, sincerely appreciate your time. Hope you have a great rest of the day. And I'm sure we'll circle back with you soon just to catch up and see what is going on in Charlotte at that time.
All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. I look forward to talking again.
Yep. No worries.